Because I think that part of it is like biology, like we don't want, like poop tastes disgusting because it would make us sick, right?
Yeah.
So
I mean, sound doesn't really have to be determined by someone hearing it.
Sure.
It could be, I mean, an animal.
You never had a taste wave, man?
Episode I'm going to be talking to other people on the chairlift about what they think about the tree problem and the sound existing. Okay, so if a tree falls in the forest and no one's around to hear it, does it make a sound?
I think yes.
I think absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
There's an objective reality outside of our own experience. Of course, it's going to happen
Fantastic.
whether anyone's there to see it or not.
It doesn't matter if
Brilliant.
you hear it or not.
Yeah, someone might hear it.
So, okay, I asked you if it makes a sound and you responded there's an objective reality.
Yeah.
So, are there certain things, sound is a property, so are there certain properties of the world that don't exist when you're not observing it? So I'll give you an example, like taste. A bear can be eating like a rotting carcass, and to him it tastes fine, but to you it probably tastes awful.
Okay.
Would you say that's part of objective reality, or that's
Yeah.
something different?
Because the bear would have evolved to taste it, right? That tastes good to the bear, that's why he wants it,
Sure.
right? But it's something like morals, like stuff with judgment. That doesn't exist outside of ourselves. Like a bear doesn't have any morals, the tree doesn't have any morals.
Okay.
That's what I think.
So would you say taste is something that doesn't exist outside of yourself, or is that
No.
intrinsic to the carcass? Would you say it has a good or bad taste?
Taste, smell,
I think that's that's personal.
it
That's
does
personal?
it does
Yeah.
have a taste, but whether something likes it or not, that's up to each individual creature.
Yeah.
But that taste would exist, sound would exist.
Sound would exist.
Yeah.
Okay. So let me try and think of a good example. A lot of people say sound is a wave, and that's why it exists, because you got waves, whether they're or not. So
You never had a taste wave, man?
So you also have, think about, say, you can feel waves as well, can't you? Like
Yeah.
if a wave hits you, but you wouldn't say you're hearing the wave, would you? You wouldn't say it's making a sound when you're feeling it rather than hearing it. There's two different ways of experiencing a wave, isn't there?
Like a sound wave?
Yeah, I mean, a wave's a wave, it's just energy, it's just
Yeah.
one wave you could, like,
Some
the same.
you can, but some you can't though.
Yeah, that's true. Some you can hear, some you can't. But some waves you can both feel and hear. That's true.
Yeah.
So would we say the sound, say it was a deaf person experiencing this and they couldn't hear it, would you say they experienced sound when they felt the wave go through
Not in the same way,
them? Not in the same way.
Yeah, that's true.
right? Like, there is no such thing as sound. It's all pressure. It's just if you can hear, we convert that pressure into what we think is sound. But the
Okay.
pressure still exists, like a loud concert or an explosion or something.
Yeah, okay, I'll agree with you. The pressure exists, but you're going to say the sound now doesn't exist? Because before you said the sound did
Well,
exist objectively. But it's a definition of terms, right?
Yes.
Sure.
Would be. Oh man. More whiskey for this.
Yeah.
Sound exists. The pressure that creates sound exists. Someone who is deaf cannot experience it in the same way, but they can still feel the pressure, but they cannot experience the sound in the same way that we do.
Okay, alright, thank you very much for talking to me. So, if a tree falls in a forest and no one's around to hear it, does it make a sound?
I think yeah.
I think yeah too.
I think because like when the tree hits the ground or whatever, it's sending all these sound waves. But actually I don't know. That's a good question.
I guess, I mean, sound doesn't really have to be determined by someone hearing it.
Sure.
It could be, I mean, an animal. Say an animal is nearby, they could hear a tree falling.
Okay, alright, for the sake of argument, let's say there's no animals, no detectors or machines. We're trying to figure out whether sound exists absent observer, let's say. you made a good point earlier. You said sound waves, right? Sound waves exist.
Yeah.
And we know that's like, I mean, the world exists even when we're not looking at it, kind of stuff. So,
Yeah, because I mean, I don't exactly know how sound waves work. I just know they like when they go into your ears,
yeah,
like hit a bunch of stuff and that makes a noise.
sure.
But if there's no one hearing it, then
I would say there's a few things we could say, like there's a difference between sounds and sound waves. So you can say, for example, hear sounds without sound waves. Say in a dream, for example, when you're dreaming you can hear sounds, but there's no sound waves there. And maybe you can say you can get sound waves without hearing it as well. So the other way around. So say, certain high frequencies, there's sound waves, but there's no sound, stuff like this. So, so you can say sound and sound waves aren't really the same thing, but does that change your mind at all? Or?
yeah, that's a pretty hard question to answer.
Yeah?
I'm gonna be thinking about that.
Okay.
I think I still feel like
I feel like there's probably still a sound.
there's still sound.
Still think there's a
If
sound?
you ask
Yeah?
like some
Okay.
physics professor, they'd probably tell you, yeah, there's, and give you like a good explanation.
Sure.
But I can't give you that.
Yeah.
Let me try something else then. Imagine the tree is on fire and it's burning and it's really hot. Is the heat of the tree, is that going to be exist even when there's no one there? So is the tree hot even when no one's around to feel it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
because
think so.
it's got a temperature, right?
Yeah.
Okay. What about? But temperature isn't the same as like hotness or coldness. Hotness and coldness is completely arbitrary. It could be like we were created on another planet where we had like 100 degrees, where we could we could endure higher temperatures and we'd feel that would be hot or cold. Or like you're acclimatized. It matters cold right now, but most people get used to it in a way. So hotness and coldness, would you say that at least is a property that doesn't exist in
Yeah, I think definitely hotness and coldness is relative
Okay.
to
Yeah.
your environment.
But obviously temperature exists and
Yeah.
pressure, energies like the sound waves. But then I'd like to say the sound isn't the sound wave. So maybe the sound that you experience isn't the same. Maybe they're just different terms, right?
Yeah, that's a good argument.
Okay, alright.
I'm no genius, so I have no answer.
Alright, thank you for talking. So if a tree falls down in the middle of a forest and no one's around to hear it, does it make a sound?
Yeah, but no one's gonna hear.
Yeah, but no one hears it?
Yeah.
Yeah? You think sound is something that exists no matter whether someone's hearing it or not, right?
Yeah.
It's like an intrinsic thing. All right, what if I ask you about like a different quality maybe? So like taste, for example, like a bear can eat like a rotting carcass, right? And to him it tastes good, but to us it would taste bad. Is taste the type of thing that would exist if no one was there to taste it, for example? So the rotting carcass sitting there in the middle of a forest, nothing's around to taste it. Does it have a taste?
It has certain flavor, yeah.
Yeah, even though to you it tastes different than to the bear or
Yeah.
to like different animals. So which one's the right one? Your taste or the bear's taste?
I think there's no right taste.
There's no right
It's just
taste.
different, yeah.
But you said there is a taste that exists no matter
Yeah.
if there's anyone there. There is a taste, right?
Yeah.
But there's different tastes.
So the one thing has a taste or flavor,
Yeah.
but it's realized differently by other people or animals, you know.
Okay. All right, let me try another one then. So say we have a table, right? And the table's smooth. You put your hand across the table, it feels smooth, right? If you get a microscope and zoom in on the table, it's going to be huge peaks and valleys and stuff like this.
Sure.
Is the table smooth or is it rough? Is smoothness or roughness the type of thing that exists without someone there to look at it?
For us, humans, as we're kind of big animals or human beings,
Yeah.
it seems flat, but once you have like a tiny little
So-
bacteria, it's like rocky or...
Okay, that's good. So you said to us, so that means it's dependent on an observer, right?
Yeah.
So smoothness, roughness, it wouldn't exist if there wasn't someone to look at it. You with me on that?
Fine, yeah.
Okay, cool. That's all I want to establish, that certain things don't exist, and sound is the idea. I'm trying to get people to think that sound isn't the kind of quality that would exist if someone's not looking at it. Let me try and argue. A lot of people would say like sound waves is what sound is, so therefore it must exist, right? Whether you're looking at it or not.
Yeah.
Whether you're hearing it or not. But let me try and explain why sound isn't a sound wave. So you can experience a sound even when there are no sound waves. For example, like in a dream, there are no sound waves, but you still hear sounds. Or you can have sound waves without being able to hear it. Like a dog can hear certain frequencies that we can't hear.
Yeah.
So sound, it doesn't seem that sound is identical to sound waves. You see what I mean? There's a certain sound is almost defined by the experience of it, if you get what I'm saying. Do Do you get that kind of point?
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
but
you
you
still-
person to person, animal to.
Yeah, yeah.
You know.
But do you still think sound would exist even if there was no one there, right?
Yeah. Sure.
Okay, cool. All right, thank you for talking to me, man. That was good. If a tree falls in a forest and no one's around to hear it, does it make a sound?
Yes.
Yes.
I think it does.
Okay. What reasons do you think?
Okay, wait. So is the question if no humans are around?
No humans, no animals, no robots. Nothing to detect it.
I think it still makes a sound.
Still makes a
It
sound.
still hits the ground.
Still hits the ground.
Yeah.
Still exists. Stuff
Yeah.
like this. All that kind of stuff.
Exactly.
Okay. What if I change the topic to say taste? Like a bear eating like a rotten carcass. To us, it'd be disgusting, but
Yes.
the bear wouldn't mind eating it,
No,
would it?
yeah, he thinks it's
Would you
delicious.
say taste is something that exists objectively in the world, or would you say it's something that wouldn't exist if there was nothing around to taste it?
I don't know if it would exist because I think that part of it is like biology. Like we don't want, like poop tastes disgusting because it would
Course.
make us sick,
Course.
right?
Yeah,
So I think that's part of it. So there's got to be like some sort of biological reason why we think something tastes really bad.
Okay, so, but without the biological reason, so the only reason is because taste is biological. There's a reason for it being
Yeah.
tasting
Yeah.
bad in a way. Okay, let me try a different argument. Let's say, so a lot of people say like sound waves are the same as that's what it creates sound waves. So
Okay.
that's the reason it exists, because sound waves exist, so sound exists.
Yeah.
But I'd argue that sound is different to sound waves because you can be hearing sounds even when there aren't sound waves, like in a dream, for example.
Okay.
Or you can have sound waves and not be able to hear it, like dog frequencies that they can hear sounds that we can't. Or even if there was another way of hearing, maybe like an alien civilization could smell sound waves or something weird like that.
Yeah.
So sound is you could say sound, you can kind of disentangle sound and sound waves, right?
Okay.
So if a tree falls in a forest and no one's around to hear it, does it make a sound? When I say sound, it's kind of the same thing as something that's been heard, if you see what I mean.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
could you see that kind of argument?
I could see it.
But you still maybe think
I
sound.
still think what I think.
That's okay. All right. So sound exists. That's another one for the. Okay. Thank you
Yeah.
very much for talking to me.
No worries.
Looks like everyone is a realist and thinks that sound exists. Maybe I'll convince someone. Thank you for listening, and hope to see you again next time. Like and subscribe for more content.